You're watching the History Channel.
Donatello was born in 1386 in what we now call Florence, Italy. He was the son of Niccolo di Battobarti, who is a member of the Arte di Lana, which was the wool guild of the late Middle Ages and Renaissance. In his early life, he apprenticed in various gold shops and worked with Lorenzo Ghiberti. He began studying and working at excavation sites of Brunelleschi. They would later become famous artistic figures. Donatello for his paintings and statues and Brunelleschi for his architecture. From a young age, it was obvious that Donatello was a master at his craft. From 1409 to 1414, he constructed various art pieces. Saint John the Evangelist, constructed in 1409 to 1411. This picture depicts Saint Mark, completed in 1413. Between 1415 and 1426, he created 5 statues for Florence Cathedral. 1425, Donatello started a crucifix for Santa Croce. 1425 to 1427, Donatello executed a funerary monument of Cardinal Rinaldo Brancossi at a church in Naples. Around the same time, Donatello also started the feast for Herod. Around 1430, Cosimo de' Medici commissioned the Bronze David. Medici was a lifelong friend and patron of Donatello. He wanted to place the statue in his Palazzo Medici, or Renaissance palace. Prior to the Bronze David, Donatello created another David around 1409. This David was to be placed in the Florence Cathedral, however it was never displayed. Fully in nude apart from a laurel-topped hat and boots, David was famous for being the first unsupported bronze statue, and for being the first fully nude statue since antiquity. The statue of David in real life is actually 5 feet tall. You'd think that such a tall statue would exhibit an aura of proudness and strength. But what's so interesting about David is that David radiates thoughtfulness and peace rather than strength and proudness. The laurels in his hat may emphasize his victory or role as a poet and musician. The statue depicts David's victory over Goliath. David's pose is relaxed and triumphant. He places his foot on Goliath's freshly severed head as a symbol of his victory. He also has Goliath's sword in his right hand, which also symbolizes victory. David's humanism influenced many of the later sculptors in the 15th century, such as Bellano's David, who also had a sword in hand as well, or the hand on hip in Master of David and St. John's statuette's David. However, none of them repeated the nudity of Donatello's David. Donatello references Polyclitus' Doryphorus through nudity and pose. Donatello highlights the sense of touch as David runs his toes through Goliath's beard, and the feather stroking David's inner thigh. David is depicted in his early life rather than his later life as a king. His muscles are not developed enough to properly hold Goliath's sword, which emphasizes the improbability of his victory over Goliath. Donatello implies that David's victory could not have been probable without divine intervention, and the victory was God's rather than man's. In contrast to Bronze David, Marble David was fully clothed and had no hat. However, they had similar pose and both had Goliath's head at foot. After being finished, Bronze David was placed in Palazzo Medici Riccardi. He was later moved to Palazzo Vecchio due to exilation of the Medicis. He was later moved to the Palazzo Pitti around the 17th century. He was then placed in the Uffizi around 1777. He was then placed in the Museo Nazionale di Bargello in 1865, where he remains today. He was restored for the first time from June 2007 to November 2008.